How to pass your ACCA SBL exam first time with a mark of 57% and only 10 weeks of studying. Well, I'm delighted to welcome Georgie today, who's going to walk and talk us through his experience of passing that exam, and so that you can make the same recommendations in your study plan to get you over the line. But Georgie, feel free to introduce yourself, my friend.
Yeah, so I started studying ACCA back in university, and that's where I've got my exemptions from. And now I'm supported by my employer, and I have passed two exams so far, and I've got two more remaining.
Lovely, lovely. Again, I should have mentioned that you were also working at the same time as studying. So we're going to have to talk about work-life balance and all these kind of things. But think back, Georgie, to when you passed your SBL exam. What sitting did you pass it in? And if you had to go do it again, how would you go about it?
Yeah, so I passed it in June 2025. If I had to go back and do the exam, I would carefully listen to podcasts because the theories that I got really need to incorporate scenarios, and the examiner is going to ask you a lot of requirements about digging into certain theories and
Mm,
then marrying them up together. So that's a key point. And the other thing is I would really focus on time management with this exam. It's not going to be easy, but I'd spend 45 minutes on planning to an hour maybe, and then just give it your best to stick and be disciplined to the time schedule.
fantastic. I mean, thinking back to the exam day for SBL, how did it go for you? Were you going to the last minute? Did you do it in a centre? How did you think it went on the day?
So yeah, I did it in a center as well. I traveled there in the morning as well. I took the morning session. I did my exam with a provider by the name of Marty Windle. Marty helped me out a lot. So the approach to taking the exam was basically, again, just a time theoretical approach. And in that, I had to basically prioritize what I would do in the podcasts and
Hmm.
how to attribute it to scenarios. And again, it just worked well for me because from that I managed to get discussion and analysis points. And having looked at the pre-seam from James's content, was really good. He gave me a lot of points and tips onto whether the shoe company, I think it was Dern Shoes at the
Hmm.
time, yeah, what they were going into and new markets and how their product portfolio was doing. So yeah, that was a great approach for me.
Oh, well, pleasure. First shout out for the pre-seed notes. I'll put all the details, guys, what we talk about in the video down below. So check them out down there. But coming on to the pre-seed materials, Georgie, how important are they? Like, what was your approach to it? Obviously, you get them from ACCA. I do some videos and take you through everything. But did you have anything that worked well for you to analyze them even better?
Your notes that you provided after your video were really good. And as well, I combined that with my tutor breaking down the content as well. I thought Marty did an amazing job where he highlighted similar bits to yourself. So, for example, I brought up that they didn't have an ethics committee, and
Hmm.
both you and Marty spotted that. And that really helped me in the exam when I saw that they needed to reorganize the board and the committee as well. So key points like that, where both of you just with your expertise highlighted, like really, really helped me. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Oh, well, you're more than welcome on there, and I'll be doing the notes for years to come, assuming ACCA carries on. Good grief. But I mean, talking of ACCA, what other resources did you use in your preparation? I mean, lots of students look at maybe the technical articles, the examiner's reports, the CBE platform. What worked best for you in your preparation?
Yeah, again, the technical articles played a key role because as we're evolving into a more technological world, and especially one in accounting, one that's more environmentally friendly, I think the articles talking about ISO 9000 again and EMAS definitely played a role. And linking that back to the shoe manufacturer, that as well. depicts in a lot of industries. For example, Nike and Timberland, how they source their shoes. So getting aspects from technical articles and linking them back to your topic is really key in this exam. And coming back to also your previous question, I would say the pre-scene gives you the bare bones. But in terms of the requirements, you have to build up from that pre-scene. You're gonna have to think about, okay, how does that link back to the question? And that's where I brought up things like Porter's five forces,
Hmm.
the dynamic progression model, the hybrid models of pricing, and linking these back and anticipating what the marker would ask. I think the pre-scene is a great precedent to that.
Oh, exactly. I can completely agree with you there. And the key word for any student who's got the SBL exam coming up is application. Because if you don't apply the pre-seen materials to the scenario, you might as well just wave goodbye to the past, I'm afraid, on there for it. We also touched on about exam technique as well. What about mock papers and doing some past paper questions? How many of those did you do? I mean, lots of students always ask me, "Oh, James, can I just do one or two, or how many do I need to do?" How many did you use, Georgie?
Yeah, so good question again. I did three mock papers with Marty, and he gave me really good feedback, which was timed as well, and it put me under pressure. As well as that, I practiced some of the study hub papers, which were on ACCA's website, and they were really interesting because I got a gauge of every topic being tested on the syllabus and how it might come up again in the future. For example, for me, the Boston Matrix and
Hmm.
Porter's Five Forces came up, and I remember practicing that question when I was on holiday. So just getting little nuggets and practicing them over and over is very beneficial. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if anyone wants the notes for those old questions, again, I'll link them down below. You can get a copy yourself on there. It will just save you hours and hours of time. But you touched on the theories there. Again, another area where students, in my opinion, will sadly fail the SBL exam is number one, not knowing the theories, and then number two, not applying them to the scenario. Would you agree? Did you come across the likes of Pestle on there, SWOT analysis, stakeholder analysis, maybe some agency theory, ethics we've talked about? Are these sort of ringing a bell that came into your revision for the key topic areas?
These are definitely ringing a bell. And in particular, what helped consolidate that knowledge was Marty's podcasts and as well your videos too. With Marty's podcasts, it went into so much depth that he covered many worldwide companies today, like Amazon. He's got a lot on his Spotify and YouTube, and I just enjoyed listening to those in the car. And each time I'd come close to the exam, if I knew a topic about shoemaking was going to come up, the first thing I did was to consolidate that podcast and go over it again if I had to. So yeah, that definitely helped.
Nice, nice. And in terms of the SBL exam, again, if you wanted to treat yourself to do the exam again, Georgie, what do you think you would do differently than if you had to do it next time? So you passed first time with 57%. What would you do differently if you had to do it again?
I would say I'd be careful on how much I write in a question. It's important to prioritize the quality over the quantity in an answer, and look out specifically what the examiner's pointing you towards. If there's a requirement that requires the word and, or for example, yeah, if he uses and, I would say there's going to be two requirements or three, maybe more, just multiple. Yeah, so think about the topics that you explain and how they link back to the question is important. And James, I'd like to say that there's 20 professional marks, I believe, in
Hmm.
the exam, and students should really look to apply the commercial acumen, the ethics, other topics that may come in handy, and look to be skeptical as well. And that requirement, I read on a lot of examiners' reports that students lack this skill, and this is
Hmm.
one that I wanted to improve in my work. So yeah, I think prioritize those key points, but most importantly than ever, I think definitely look to get your time management right because this is it looks like you've got 3 hours and 15 minutes, which is an awful long time. but in the exam, time just goes away and you just
Yeah.
have to keep going. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to keep
you'll
going.
feel absolutely knackered at the end of the exam, and you're absolutely spot on in terms of those professional skills marks. The two which the external examiner always says that students really just throwaway marks. They've just got no chance of getting them. Commercial acumen, applying it back to the products, the service, the type of industry, what the pre-scene is on. And then secondly, as you rightly said on there, Georgie, the actual skepticism. And the key thing you've got to do there is actually challenge what is being asked in the requirement and linking it back to the scenario again. So I don't feel bad for saying, is that right? Could that be done better? All these sort of things you will pick up on a few extra marks for it on there.
Yeah.
But I mean, Georgie, do you have any other SBL nuggets of information or key points that could help a student get those extra marks and a 50 plus to pass their exam?
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that point that you just made as well. Think about the language that the examiner is using. For example, if he asks about a product portfolio, instantly in your head you should be thinking about the Boston Matrix. He's wording the question in a way that he's making you presume what's going to come up with a theory. And then one of the questions, James, was like how I think it was Dern's competitiveness in the shoe market was affecting their product portfolio. So see, guys, there's two different theories, but they match up together in a question. And then marrying that up with the professional marks will be what gives you the answer. I think understanding the examiner language is important, and as well, understanding the examiner reports and where students make mistakes.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a key thing I would pick up as well.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Yeah, just practice, time management, understanding those theories, not writing too much, and doing as many mock papers and past papers to time, I would say, as possible. But a massive, 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 huge thank you, Georgie, for coming on today, sharing your insights. I think it's definitely going to be the difference in getting someone to pass on there. So, any final best wishes to the students listening?
Um, Keep studying and don't be afraid to reach out to many wonderful people like James, like Marty, who have got a lot of pointers in these exams. They have a wealth of experience, and I'm sure they're happy to share it with you.
Oh, Megan, that's very sweet of you to say. Well, all the resources, guys, I've put in the description of this video. Be sure to like and subscribe as always, so you don't miss out on any free resources I put on the channel. And best of luck with your exam. So thank you very much.